There is a secret known only to the wisest of sages, a truth so profound that it has been passed down in whispers, hidden in the folds of history. It is not written in books, nor shouted from rooftops. It is found in silence. What if the greatest teachings of the ancient masters were not spoken, but felt? What if enlightenment was not something to be explained, but something to be experienced beyond words? The mystics of old, Buddhist monks, Sufi dervishes, Taoist hermits, and yogis of the Himalayas, understood this well. They practiced silence not as an absence, but as a presence, a gateway to something deeper. To them, silence was not emptiness. It was the source of all wisdom. But why? Why did the greatest masters embrace silence? What did they know that we have forgotten? In this video, we will journey into the hidden power of silence. We will explore why ancient sages used it as a tool for transformation, how it reshapes the mind, and why, in a world filled with endless noise, reclaiming silence might be the key to unlocking your highest potential. Are you ready to listen? Not just with your ears, but with your soul? Then let's begin. Throughout history, the greatest spiritual traditions have spoken of silence, not as mere quietness, but as a force, a discipline, and a path to enlightenment. The Buddha, after attaining awakening, sat in perfect stillness beneath the Bodhi tree, speaking not a word for days. When he finally rose, his teachings were not mere philosophies, but direct transmissions from a place beyond thought. The Zen masters of Japan, instead of answering questions with words, would often respond with silence or a simple gesture, understanding that truth is something to be felt, not explained. In the deserts of Egypt, the Christian desert fathers withdrew from the distractions of the world, believing that only in deep, contemplative silence could one truly hear the voice of the divine. The Sufi mystics of Persia spoke of the language of the heart, a wisdom beyond speech, where the soul communicates directly with existence itself. Laozi, the sage of Taoism, wrote in the Tao Te Ching, "Those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know." This idea is echoed in the ancient Vedic traditions of India, where sages practiced mauna, the vow of silence, to cultivate inner clarity. They understood that words shape reality, but silence reveals it. But why did they believe silence held such power? What did these masters understand about the human mind, the universe, and the nature of consciousness that made them choose silence over speech? To answer this, we must dive deeper into the essence of silence itself, how it transforms perception, dissolves illusions, and connects us to something far greater than ourselves. Are you ready to explore the hidden architecture of silence? Let's step beyond the noise and into the void where truth begins. Silence is more than the absence of noise. It is a presence, a force, a doorway to a deeper reality. Ancient masters understood that words, while powerful, also act as limitations. Every time we describe something, we confine it within the structure of language. We take something infinite, an experience, a realization, a feeling, and shrink it into symbols and sounds. But silence? Silence leaves room for the direct experience of truth. Think of a still pond. When the surface is disturbed by movement, it reflects a distorted image. But when it is calm, it becomes a perfect mirror. The mind is the same. When filled with words, thoughts, and internal chatter, it distorts reality. But in deep silence, the mind becomes clear, reflecting the truth of existence without interference. Modern neuroscience now confirms what ancient sages have always known. Silence profoundly impacts the brain. Studies show that deep silence promotes neurogenesis, the birth of new brain cells, and enhances creativity, problem-solving, and emotional clarity. The reason? Silence creates space. Space to observe. Space to detach from habitual thought patterns. Space to connect with intuition. This is why the most profound insights often arise in moments of quiet contemplation. Why poets, philosophers, and mystics throughout history have sought solitude to birth their greatest revelations. But silence isn't just about thinking more clearly. It's about going beyond thought entirely. Silence as a gateway to higher awareness. In the deepest moments of silence, something extraordinary happens. The sense of self, the mental identity we cling to, begins to dissolve. Many spiritual traditions describe this as ego death, where the illusion of separation fades and one experiences pure awareness. In this state, there is no need for words, no need for concepts, only direct connection with reality as it is. The mystics of Kabbalah, the sages of Advaita Vedanta, the Zen monks of Japan, all spoke of this state, yet none could fully explain it in words. Because true knowing, the kind that changes your entire being, does not come from speech. It emerges from silence. This is why silence was not just a practice for the ancient masters. It was a path to transcendence. But what happens when we take this silence and integrate it into our daily lives? How does it reshape our reality, our interactions, and our very perception of the world? Let's go even deeper. Silence is not merely a practice, it is a state of being. When we understand this, we begin to see how ancient masters used silence not only for meditation, but as a living, breathing philosophy. The power of silence in communication. Ironically, the greatest speakers, teachers, and leaders understood the power of saying less. The Taoist sages taught that the wisest words are spoken sparingly, allowing space for the listener to reach their own understanding. The Buddha himself often responded to deep questions with silence, because some truths cannot be told, they must be experienced. Consider the pause in a great piece of music. Without silence between the notes, there is only chaotic noise. Silence gives meaning to sound. In conversation, too, moments of pause allow words to carry depth. The greatest wisdom is often found in what is not said. The ancient Stoics practiced this deliberately. They observed their thoughts before speaking, ensuring that words were necessary, intentional, and aligned with truth. Silence, to them, was a form of mastery, of the self, of emotions, and of the energy they put into the world. Now imagine applying this in your own life. Imagine a world where you speak only when words serve a purpose, where you listen more deeply, where you allow silence to do its work. What kind of presence would you cultivate? Silence as a tool for manifestation and inner power. Mystics across cultures taught that the mind is like a sacred temple. When filled with noise, worries, doubts, external chatter, it becomes a chaotic marketplace. But when emptied through silence, it transforms into a space where divine wisdom can enter. This is why many ancient spiritual traditions emphasized silent rituals, monastic vows of silence, silent prayers, and wordless meditations. They understood that intention is more powerful when not diluted by unnecessary speech. In esoteric teachings, there is a saying, "Power is lost when words are spoken." This does not mean speech is bad, only that when we talk excessively about our dreams, intentions, or spiritual insights, we dissipate their energy. The most powerful manifestations happen in the quiet stillness of the mind, where energy is concentrated and aligned with universal forces. The silent observer, seeing reality clearly. When we stop filling space with words, we begin to perceive reality in its purest form. The great Zen masters trained their disciples to observe without judgment, without immediately translating experiences into thoughts or labels. Why? Because the moment we name something, we separate ourselves from it. To say, "this is a tree," is to create a mental boundary between self and tree. But in silence, we can experience something as it is, without the interference of language. This is why profound spiritual awakenings often occur in deep silence. When thoughts quiet, when words dissolve, we enter a state of pure awareness. And in that awareness, we realize a truth that cannot be spoken, only known. Practical application: harnessing the power of silence. Understanding the wisdom of silence is one thing. Applying it in daily life is another. Ancient masters did not retreat into silence simply to escape the world. They used it as a tool to sharpen their minds, strengthen their spirit, and elevate their presence. Now let's explore how you can integrate the power of silence into your own life. 1. The art of intentional silence. Most people fear silence. They fill conversations with words, their minds with distractions. and their days with endless noise. But what if instead you made silence a choice? Practice. Set aside 10 to 15 minutes a day for complete silence. No talking, no music, no external distractions. Sit with your thoughts without reacting to them. Observe how your mind tries to resist stillness. Over time, this practice will train your mind to be at peace with silence rather than anxious in its presence. This simple habit mirrors the way ancient monks trained themselves, gradually shifting from external noise to inner awareness. 2. Speak less, listen more. Silence is not just about stillness, it's about presence. The greatest sages, leaders, and mystics understood that true power comes from listening more than speaking. Practice. In conversations, resist the urge to immediately respond. Instead, pause for a few moments after someone speaks. Notice how this shifts the energy of the interaction. Silence creates space for deeper insights and meaningful exchanges. When you do speak, choose words carefully. Make them count. This is the essence of mindful speech, a practice found in Buddhism, Stoicism, and countless wisdom traditions. Protect your energy by practicing silence in manifestation. In esoteric traditions, there is a reason why true masters rarely talk about their deepest spiritual experiences or their biggest life goals. Words can dilute the energy of an intention. Practice. The next time you set an intention, resist the urge to tell everyone about it. Instead, hold it within. Let the energy build. Journal your thoughts in silence rather than speaking them into the world prematurely. When the time comes to act, let your results speak louder than your words. This follows the ancient principle of concealment of power. True strength grows in silence before it manifests in the external world. 4. Use silence to perceive reality clearly. The mind constantly labels, judges, and interprets everything. But what happens if, just for a moment, you stop naming things? Practice. Go outside and observe the world without assigning words to what you see. Look at a tree, not as a tree, but as pure presence, as it is. Try this for just a few minutes, and you will notice a subtle shift. Your awareness will deepen, and reality will seem more vivid. This technique is found in Zen Buddhism and non-dual teachings, where silence becomes a gateway to higher consciousness. 5. The silent mind. Meditation for inner mastery. Silence is not just external, it is also internal. True wisdom arises when the inner dialogue quiets and the mind becomes still. Practice. Every day, sit in silence for a few minutes, focusing only on your breath. When thoughts arise, let them pass like clouds, without engaging with them. Over time, this practice will lead to a deeper sense of presence, clarity, and intuitive knowing. This is why sages retreated into caves, monks took vows of silence, and mystics spent years in contemplation, not to escape life, but to master it from within. Silence is not weakness. It is not emptiness. It is the space where wisdom, power, and transformation begin. The question is, will you embrace it? Begin today. Choose moments of silence. Observe the world without labels. Speak with intention. Hold your power within. And as you walk this path, you may just find that silence was never empty. It was always filled with everything you were seeking. What if the answers you've been seeking weren't hidden in books, conversations, or even the teachings of others, but in the silence you've been avoiding? This is the secret the ancient masters understood. Silence was never about absence. It was about presence. It was not a retreat from the world, but a deeper engagement with it, beyond the distractions of words and noise. The sages who embraced silence were not passive observers. They were architects of reality, tuning into the unseen currents of existence. They understood that words shape reality, but silence reveals it. Now, the choice is yours. Will you continue to drown in the endless chatter of the world, letting distractions pull you away from your true self? Or will you step into the sacred space of silence, where clarity, wisdom, and power reside? If you are ready to experience the hidden power of silence for yourself, start today. Choose moments of intentional stillness. Speak only when necessary, and let your words carry meaning. Guard your energy by keeping your deepest intentions sacred. And most importantly, listen to the world, to yourself, and to the silence that holds the wisdom of the universe. Because in the end, those who master silence do not fade into the background. They become the ones who shape reality itself. Thank you for watching. If this wisdom resonates with you, make sure to like, subscribe, and share to help bring these ancient truths to more seekers. And remember, the greatest transformations do not happen in noise. They happen in the quiet spaces between words. Until next time, embrace the silence. It has so much to tell you.